that justify the vilification of the other 10 MPs?
No.
As the governor placed before this Senate evidence of any wrong, the other 10 MPs, let's agreeing for argument's sake that the Honorable Mpuru was wrong.
I have not come across any.
Between the Honorable Mpuru and the Honorable Kawira, to the best of your knowledge, who began the provocation?
I believe it is Madam Governor.
This video you've just been shown, the occasion in question, did it occur before or after the presidential function in which all of you are called cartels?
It was before.
Which one occurred before the other? Is it the presidential function or the video we've just been shown?
It was the video that we have just been shown.
You said the Honorable Kirima was called a tractor?
That was Honorable Dr. Shadrach Mwiti.
As the governor explained the basis for that lie in a response to the best of your knowledge?
We saw it in the clip, and that was so demeaning. And we thought that as elected leaders, if there was any mistake done, it would have been followed by an apology. But the analogy clearly demonstrated a lack of respect for the elected member of parliament for South Imenti.
What would you tell the Senate, this is my last question, is the prevailing status in Meru County attributable to these endless wars between the governor, the MCAs, the MPs, and virtually anyone the governor wakes up in the mood of vilifying?
Come again?
What is the prevailing general situation in Meru attributable to the governor's unending fights with other leaders?
Mr. Speaker and the members of the Senate, we are faced with a very difficult moment in our local politics of Meru County. The continued verification and the continuous insult and demeaning has left our county in a lot of shame. Unless this Senate takes a decision, Meru County, as it is right now, it is a laughingstock.
Council, I think that should conclude your session.
Much obliged, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Senators, I will give you 5 minutes for clarifications on this witness so that we conclude on the remaining witness. Senator Oroba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have 2 clarifications. I'll be very quick that I'm seeking. There's been a lot of use of phrases such as kaende kaende, wenye wivu wajinyonge, and other terminologies that sound abrasive, harsh, and insensitive. I would be asking Mr. Speaker for clarification how those are grounds for impeachment, if they can tie them to either committing a crime, abuse of office, physical or mental incapacitation. My second clarification, Mr. Speaker, is we have so many from both parties, but this one I pose actually perhaps to both. We have a lot of evidence that has been submitted here in terms of exhibits in support of the impeachment motion, and they're quoting social media, WhatsApp messages, Facebook, and the likes. My question would be, for clarification, has this evidence actually passed through the legal process of authentication, legally known as the chain of custody, so that we can be sure that what we are referencing is actually the legitimate evidence? And is it possible to get the context of these screenshots? Because we are in the era where there's a lot of misleading. So perhaps if we can get the context or the full, instead of just giving a screenshot of partly of the message. And finally, Mr. Speaker, did you actually get consent for any social media exhibits that you've posted here? As you know, for instance, in WhatsApp, the data processor, the data manager is the administrator. Did you get consent to be able to table these alleged exhibits to support?
Proceed, Council.
The first question, Mr. Speaker, is whether vilification is a ground of impeachment. It is, because under the laws we've presented for the relevant count, public officers, including governors, are supposed to behave in a manner that brings honor and dignity to their office and the office of other public officers. They're legally obliged to refrain from bullying and vilifying. And these are Chapter 6, Mr. Speaker, laws I'm talking about. Someone was just opening them for me. I'll perhaps, once it is open, I'll show it to you. There is a question of whether we can rely on WhatsApp, Facebook. The world moved a long time ago from that traditional hostility towards electronic evidence. As a matter of fact, Mr. Speaker, these days, even legal documents are served on WhatsApp. You check with the judiciary, WhatsApp is a recognized method of sending and serving even official summonses and court orders and whatnot. There is legal provision, of course, for how electronic evidence is to be presented. The requirement is one for authentication, and all you need is a certificate. We have presented that certificate in the affidavit of the mover of the motion. It identifies the devices from which these WhatsApp screenshots, Facebook, whatever, were downloaded. So all you need, Mr. Speaker, is to show the path and the device. And just for the record, we have those devices before the Senate, should the Senate be interested in verifying whether indeed those WhatsApps were downloaded using those devices as required under Section 106B of the Evidence Act, or if you like, Section 78A of the Evidence Act. Is it possible to get the context of these screenshots? Of course it is, perhaps with or without some difficulty, but we tried during the evidence in chief to show you that the governor was actually trying to misrepresent the context by misleading you to believe that the procession we saw the deputy governor participate in September is the one that triggered the WhatsApps, when the WhatsApps are their own timestamps and date stamps that show they occurred several months before that and unfortunate incidents. Do we have consent? No such consent is required. And while still on this question, Mr. Speaker, we said early in the morning, the prevailing jurisprudence is that the proceedings before you are not akin to proceedings in a court of law. So those strictures about the rules of evidence and whatnot, even though we have complied with them, we've only done so ex abundanti cautela, out of abundance of caution, not because we were required or in any event obliged. And the sections of the law, Mr. Speaker, are to be found in page 44 of our volume 3. There is a section, there are sections from the Leadership and Integrity Act, which is a direct derivative of our chapter 6. It has all those sections we've cited there. The one on bullying is at page 49 of our volume 3. And I could go on and on, Mr. Speaker. All we are trying
Wind
to
up,
say,
Council. We're really running.
all we are trying to say, Mr. Speaker, is that these are valid grounds of impeachment. And if we doubt that they are, let us think how sustainable it is to have a county being run like that. We've already seen, because of this persistent campaign, matters escalating to levels of violence we hope will remain at where they are and they will not escalate further. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Wambua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question is directed to the Council in relation to what the Honourable Member of Parliament is confessing on the floor. Mr. Speaker, there is open, obvious aggression between the two parties, and it's playing out in the public. I want the Council to tell us and help us to make a decision on this aggression, whether there is a requirement in law for the governor to be a friend of the other elected leaders in the county, or whether in the converse, the elected leaders in Meru County have an obligation to also maintain a relationship with the governor. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, Council. Under 1 minute, please.
Mr. Speaker, there is a page, I believe, 20 of our volume 3. Again, we are reading from the County Governments Act, I believe, section 30, subsection 3, paragraph D. There is a legal obligation on the governor, speaking specifically to the governor, to promote peace and order in the county and to promote democracy, good governance, unity, and cohesion, and again, many, many other things. So it is not enough to say these are just insults. There is a legal obligation to refrain from that behavior. It is, of course, true that from the video we saw some aggression between the Honorable Mporo Abori and the Honorable Governor. I don't think anyone can deny that in good conscience. The question is whether that would justify the vilification of the other 10 MPs for a whole year now and counting, non-stop, with no good basis at all. Is there a legal requirement for a governor to be a friend of the other leaders or vice versa? There is no legal requirement to be a friend to anyone, but there is a legal requirement to behave in a manner that brings dignity to the office of governor, and as I said earlier on, to refrain from all the things I've shown you, countless laws that say the governor shouldn't do.
Thank you. Kindly usher in your last witness.
Mr. Speaker, our last witness is Dr. Gitonga Luruti. They have gone to fetch him, Mr. Speaker. And just for the record, he's only our last witness because given the time and the earlier discussion, clearly won't make it to call the others.
Well, Council, you've decided to put your emphasis on the second witness. Swear in the witness so that we get moving.
Good evening. So will you take an oath or affirm? Yeah. Will you affirm or take an oath? Affirm. Affirm. So confirmation. Even an oath. An oath. Yeah. Will you do it in English or Kiswahili? English. English. Yeah. So you will read this text. Huh? Yes. Yeah. So here you say your names. Yeah. Then you will hold the Bible.
So your time starts running from now. 10 minutes.
I, Jeremiah Gitonga Luruti, do here solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before the Senate in respect of the matters before the Senate shall be the truth, the whole truth, are nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Honorable Speaker, my name is Moreru. I will take the witness to the examining chief. Dr. Jeremiah Gitonga Luruti, have you filed a statement, a witness statement or affidavit in support of the impeachment motion?
Yes, I have.
That is a statement at page 52